The specifications for this part are 24 by 8. So I'll go to the secondary end and put in 24 for this one and 8 for this one. Alright, so let's try this once again. For the first one, I'll type in 24 and I'll hold the shift to signify the inch signal, and then I'll put an 8 for the second one. And there we go. And the point that we have for this part is that the design from one side has a slope and it's straight from the other side. So when you're working with the fabrication ducts, you have a part that says more parameters. You can either select that or select the edit part from up here, and then you have the offset width in the menu that opens up. Now when you select this, you have the different types of settings that are flat right value and flat left, which we'll select flat right for now, and then OK. And now you can see how that changes the design in the program. Then we get to the length of this parts. In the AutoCAD file, it says we have about 15 centimeters for here. So under the dimensions, I'll put in 15 centimeters for length. Alright, let's move it forward a bit, put in 30, and there we go. And alright, and then this part where you see it's shaped up like this is actually because the connection of this point is actually parallel to this part in this plan right here. Let's go to the plan for a moment. Here I can select this and then, alright, cancel that. Let's go to another part. Right here we can see in the plan where we have W duct. Now for the part concerning here, we have to go to the HVAC plan and see where we have the W duct under the dimensions. Alright, so as you can see, it's deactivated right now, and it's actually being calculated by a formula. So now let's go back to the front view and open up the edit family. The formula here is W minus 40 millimeters equals W duct. Now instead of calculating W duct this way, we can get rid of this and then close the edit properties and then select the load into project, overwrite existing version. Then I'll select the part in the plan in order to activate the W duct, and I'll type in manually 0.8 for example. Alright, now we can select the piece on top and connect this to here. Alright, let's disconnect these two, then click on the connection point and move it down here in order to connect them up correctly. Now the design looks much better. Now we can even improve it by selecting it and move it forward and up. Alright, then we can select the plan settings and put it on wireframe. Alright, then we can go up here and select the move tool. Now it's not absolutely necessary to place this here and connect them airtight, because in a lot of instances the AutoCAD file is wrong itself. But I'll place it here just so we can get a quick check. Then I'll go to the 3D view and close this family. Then I can rotate the view in order to show exactly which part we were designing. Now for this part, you can see we've selected the suspended ceiling supports and modeled them and placed them under the architecture. You may remember that we've also said that suspended ceiling is only done when you finish the mechanical part completely. But there is an exception here with the supports, because we are able to move them around and have more freedom to avoid collisions, because our first priority is the duct itself. And so we design the ducts, and if there are any collisions found in the plan, we have to move around the supports in order to solve them. And so after that, I go to the HVAC plan and right click here and select the multi-point routing option. Now we can draw using this option and place this here. Alright, then I can select it once again, and And let's take a look at the primary end. All right, it's 24 by 8, fine for now. Now we actually have an opening in another pathway in the duct here, which we can create using the breach option in the fabrication of ducts. But for now, I'll save the file. As you may have figured out, the modeling of ducts is extremely easy, much easier than doing the sewage. And if you've done the sewage, you've pretty much done the modeling of the plan. So after that, I'll go over here and click on this part, and then we get to the specifications. I'll open up the first part that says calculated and put it on value, and then I'll type in manually 14 inches. Then we have 8 inches down here, which is fine for now. And as you can see, the text itself says the specifications are 24 by 8. So we'll move on from here. Then in the 3D view, you can see the placement of the duct here, which is actually too high and it's above the suspended ceiling. It's actually hitting the wall at the back and it needs to be moved. So first, I'll go over here and rotate this and select this part. Then from the edit part section, I'll select the offset depth and put it on flat bottom and hit OK. Alright, then after that, we can go over here in the 3D view and select this part of the duct and get rid of it. And then we can go back to the plan. Now here, I'll go to this part right here and right click on it and select the multi-point routing option. And then we move this to here. Alright, then we need to see what we have for the elevation of this. So I'll hit Ctrl C for the top and then select this one and paste it here. And then I'll connect the two ducts up. And now if we switch over to the 3D view, we can see how the improvements have been made. Alright, and then after doing this part, we have the next part, which as you can see here, goes inside of the suspended ceiling itself, and the wall that we have on the side, and then we have a breach up here in order to extract the air. So I'll right click here and select the multi-point routing once again, and then place it right over here. And if we switch over to the 3D, we can see it from this angle as well. Alright, then from the Systems tab, I'll select the Air Terminal tool and put it on Duct. And we either need to place a terminal here or we need to create one ourselves, our air terminal. So then we'll go over to the back view and select this and shorten it and move it back. And then we'll rotate around it where we can see the wall that we have here in the front of this that needs to be punched through or moved. And as you can see, it's this part right here that's supporting the suspended ceiling. We usually assess these after the mechanic's done, and if there are any changes needing to be made, they'll be done after the work's done. So then I'll go back to the plan and continue the duct that we have here. I'll right click on the icon and select the multi-point routing once again. So I'll draw this up to this point right here, then select it, and firstly for the main primary width I'll put in 18 inches, and for the second one I'll put in 8 inches. So after we've done that, we'll need to go over to the edit part section and check the values that we have here. So the first one, 24 is okay, the 8 is okay. Then we can edit the top width to valued and change the value itself to 18 inches. Then 14, which is fine for the right width, and the rest are fine as well. So after this, we'll need to create a structure like this one itself. So we'll use the create similar option to select and paste the breach over here. So then after that, we'll select the breach itself and rotate it so we'll have the entry on the right side. Then I'll select the breech itself and go over to the primary end section. For the first one, we have 18 and then 8, which are fine for now. Then for the main secondary width, we have 14, which is also fine, but we'll have to open up the edit part menu to check the values as well. So here, as you can see, the top width is already set on value, which we'll keep. And we'll also edit the 18 in the value itself to 14. Alright, right click here again and multi-point routing. We'll bring it up to here, and we have a solution here which helps us using a line to connect these two up. Then after that, we'll go over to the 3D where you can see this area from another angle as well. So I'll increase the depth like this, and then go back to the HVAC plan. Now for the breach here, as you know, we have 14 by 8, which we can right click and select the multi-point routing to. I'll continue the ducts up to this point, and then we have an elbow after that. For the elbow structure, we can select the reducing elbow shape from the fabrication. Excuse me, not this one. The radius elbow is what we select, and then click over here to place it. Let me see if I can continue the elbow structure like this. Alright, now this needs to be adjusted later on. So the primary end is alright, but we can change the angle to 90 degrees. Then we can move it upwards as well to fit the space up to this point. And then we'll go over to the edit part where we can see the values listed here as well. I'll also look at it from the AutoCAD file to see if they check out. So all of them are fine for now, and I'll hit OK. And then after that, I'll right click on the new part and select the multi-point routing option once again. Then I'll continue the duct up to this point, and then I'll fill out the space as such. Alright, and after doing that, we can go over to the 3D view where we can see the structure from these different angles as well. Alright, so then I'll open up the Visibility Graphics menu, and from the Revit Links tab, I'll uncheck two boxes for a moment and hit OK. Now we can see exactly how the duct of this part has shaped out. The modeling of ducts is super easy itself, especially if you're using the fabrication tool, which will help you speed up.